Also, Mr. Balich had asked for us to discuss it as well. So with that being said, I would like to open this discussion up to our Director of Transportation, Mr. Ronaldson. After his comments, the committee is welcome to make any comments on their own, and then I would like to move the public comment up to discuss the 143rd right after that. If you do have another public comment on the agenda item later, you will also have that opportunity to speak as well. But for a matter of time, I'd like the folks to be able to speak their mind, keep it under 3 minutes. I know we have 31 people signed up, and we do have some comments to be read into the record. So we'll try to be as brief as we can. So with that being said, I would like to say good morning to Mr. Ronaldson.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, committee,
Good morning.
all of our guests today. I will go through a description of the project 143rd Street as requested by Chairman Van Dyne. There are some exhibits in the memo that is attached to the agenda. As we're not able to get them up at the moment, I'd encourage you to look at that as I go through it at the appropriate time. If it comes up, great. If not, yep. So there's pictures on there showing where the project is, but I'm sure a lot of people are familiar. If not, again, I encourage you to look at those exhibits at another time. So we're talking about 143rd Street, the particular project between State Street, Lamont Road, and Bell Road. We have to date, the county has spent $6.2 million on this particular segment of 143rd Street. 143rd Street for the county highway goes from Illinois 171, all the way to the county line. So it's a long corridor. This is the middle segment that we're talking about today. The $6.2 million spent has been on engineering, right-of-way acquisition, utility relocates, and things of that nature. The project is ready, designed for letting. We are currently acquiring right-of-way. The land acquisition for negotiations has just started. So construction would start once the first segment is clear for right-of-way. So we did use federal funds in the phase one. That's the preliminary engineering. And then we have been awarded $7 million in federal funds additionally. We've applied for a competitive grant, which has specific scoring involved, scoring for safety, future needs, that type of thing. So it's scored well enough to be given $7 million. And that $7 million has to go to the project as shown in the plans. For the certain 5 lanes, you can't allocate it somewhere else in the county. You can't allocate it, use it for something less than what we have been awarded for. So that's an important fact to keep in mind. And we do have an IGA with the Village of Elmer Glen who is going to be participating for their bike path and sidewalk facilities as well. That draft is being reviewed So to get a sense of where this project has been so that you can see, that was a quick overview. Now we're going to drop back a little bit, get some context. I've already mentioned the whole corridor of the project. If you had the drawings, you would see I have a website listed in there from Will County, from IDOT. It lists the functional classifications of roadways in the area. 143rd Street is a minor arterial, so those roads are to designate the principal arterials. And the principal arterials in this region are 159th Street and Route 171. So this road actually fits very well because you're supposed to be 2 to 3 miles away from those roadways, and 143rd Street is 2 miles north of 159th Street in that corridor. It also serves very well as it connects a lot of communities. Lockport on the west goes through the 355 interchange, it goes through Homer Glen, then on to Orland Park, and then even over into Tinley Park. So it is a great east-west corridor that supplements the state's principal arterial network. So moving on, this corridor has been in the works to be upgraded for a great many years, a couple of decades even. It has been widened to 5 lanes for a part of our county highway system already. I have in the memo, in 2008, the I-355 interchange was constructed, opened up around that time frame, 5 lanes there. The State Street Lamont Road intersection itself, which both of these are west of the current segment, was improved by the Village of Homer Glen to 5 lanes back in 2015, we as the county filled the gap between the Homer Glen section and the tollway section also in the 2015 timeframe. So that whole segment was made 5-lane at that time. So that's the west end. Moving over to the east end, the county reconstructed that roadway to 5 lanes from the county line, matching into what was already done at Bell Road in 2014. The Bell Road intersection was improved sometime before 1995. I don't have that exact year, but it was improved with further improvements to be done in 2024. So on the bookends, we had the 5-lane already completed to prepare for the future. Now we're doing the middle section, which is the last section, which is the section before you today. So the project itself, well, there's one more comment on the regional aspect of it. There's, of course, as with all of our projects and throughout the county on all roads, concerns of truck traffic. This corridor, the only segment that is designated a truck route, was designated by the county board in 2020, and that's over by the tollway. That deals with the Lockport industrial area. So Gallagher Road over to 171, the county board made that a county class 2 truck route back then. To my knowledge, there is no desire to designate any further section of the county system to a class 2 truck route, but that would be under the authority of the county board. That's not what this project is designed for. It is 5 lanes, but it's designed to handle 80,000-pound trucks, but it has not been designed to be specifically a class 2 truck route. So we don't have any intention to make it that way unless the county board has some other desire. Project history, this particular segment, we did the regional. Now we're focusing on where we're talking about with this particular project. Started in 2009. So we have been working on this for quite some time. Our projects take a very long time, the reconstruction ones anyways. You're familiar with that, with all the contracts we do. It went through a phase 1 process, meaning preliminary engineering, where there's public meetings, public involvement, the feds are involved, environmental is involved, we look at all the safety data. The PDR, the Project Development Report, was approved by the feds and IDOT in 2019. So to get to that point, the county held 3 public hearings throughout that phase 1 process, each one attended by over 100 people. So a lot of good turnout, a lot of good comments, and we did address a lot of those comments. Of course, we can't address all comments, but we do our best to mitigate. One such instance was we had proposed a barrier median down the center of the roadway. We changed that to a mountable median so that the residents along that corridor could make left in and outs. The barrier median would have restricted that. So we did do that as an example. The purpose and need in the project development report really states as to why we were out there. And I'll just read that briefly. 143rd Street is a minor principal arterial with a recently constructed full access interchange at the I-355 South Extension. The purpose of the project is to address capacity and safety deficiencies associated with the existing conditions by constructing a roadway facility that reduces the potential for crashes and encourages more efficient traffic flow through the corridor. In order to meet the projected 2040 traffic demands, the county proposes to add capacity to 143rd Street by adding a second travel lane in each direction, a mountable median, a channelized left turn lanes. Furthermore, the proposed improvements will match adjacent sections at Lamont Road to the west and Bell Road to the east. So that is in the project development report itself and approved by the feds and IDOT. And that's to mitigate the 2002 crashes that we had throughout the study. 5 years we studied, there were 202 crashes. We've had several fatalities in this segment alone, most recently being just last year, head-on collision. Someone pulled out, going to pass someone, and the opportunity wasn't there. Just a poor choice, and the results are what they were. Simply adding a left turn lane would not have prevented that. The 5 lanes may have, because that provides additional capacity for people to get around slower moving vehicles. So that's why we're out there doing these improvements, to try and mitigate all of our traffic safety improvements, the crashes we have. We did have, as I said, the public meetings back then. We had the quick take public meeting last month, of which 3 of the 4 that spoke did attend those meetings, so we didn't really get new comments from last month. There was one new person who moved into the area, but otherwise, there's your maps, very good. Just so you see that, back up real quick, the red is the principal arterial system. So the bottom one would be 159th Street. My apologies. That's 159th Street that the state reconstructed, which our traffic models, traffic projections did account for that improvement. So all the traffic in the area is accounted for, the projected traffic volumes. We are looking at 19 to 22,000 projected ADT in 2040. That's why we're doing this improvement. The green is 143rd Street, so again, 2 miles north. And then the red is north-south is Bell Road, and then the diagonal is 171 Archer Avenue. And then the far right, you got Route 45 in Orland Park and Harlem in Tinley Park. So again, a great east-west corridor. There are some other projects in the works I didn't mention outside of Will County. To the east, Orland Park has been working on 143rd Street to make their section 5 lane as well for quite some years. They are they're in phase 2 design, similar to us, but a little further behind. But they are making good progress on theirs as well. You can check their websites for updates on their projects. So at some point, we will have 5 lanes or improved roadway from 171 all the way over to Route 45. Again, the oval area is the segment we're looking at today. If you go to the next exhibit, we'll touch back on that one just so people get their bearings. These are both websites on IDOT's gettingaroundillinois.com. One is functional classification. This one is the Class 2 truck routes in the area. The purple are the IDOT Class 2 truck routes. Again, 159th Street, Route 45, and 171. The small blue segment over by 355, that is the county designated Class 2 truck route, and it terminates at Gauger Road, which is where Lockport's Industrial Park is. So there's nothing further from there. Moving on, we'll get this wrapped up for you. The county has been, as I said, has been working on this for a long time. The Will County Board has been committed to this project for a very long time. In the Build Will program adopted by the County Board in 2008 to stimulate the industry at the time when the downturn in the economy happened, the county bonded money, $100 million, and 60 projects were to be moved forward. And as part of that program, another 12 were added later. This segment was included in 2008, so it was been thought of for many, many years. The entire corridor expansion was shown in our long-range 2030 plan that was adopted in 2009, which included this segment. It's not listed in our 2040 if you get into that many details, but that's because it's an existing project. And then lastly, this segment has been in our multi-year plan, which gets approved by the County Board every June for the last 12 years. This segment has been in there and the County Board has supported it each time. So the county has been diligent in making sure the funding has been there to support this project and keep it moving forward to address our traffic and safety concerns, not just for what we see today, but what's in the future. Again, we don't design just for the existing conditions. We look for the future to address the corridor as a whole. So with that, I did want to comment the Village of Homer Glen. I already mentioned they have an IGA we're going to be passing in the near future to further bike path facilities. They do comment from time to time, our office, to let us know of congestion issues, usually around the Parker Road signal or Golden Oak because of backups in that area. I don't think we hear a lot about the rest of the corridor as there's no signals moving along. People can progress through the corridor pretty well unless there's slower moving traffic, which again causes frustrations for some people and make poor choices, which results in some of the fatalities we've had. So, as I said, we're got this design done, buying right-of-way, so then when the right-of-way is complete, we will be able to move this forward in construction. In theory, it's currently scheduled for 2026, but we can move that up to 2025 if the right-of-way moves forward. We did approve quick take resolution last month, but that has to go to state legislators, so we'll just see where the right-of-way lands up as to our schedule when we will actually be able to construct it and then use that $7 million federal dollars we were awarded as well. So that kind of gives a lot of detail, probably more than you wanted to hear, but the memo is on there for you to refer back to or to share with others. as to the status of the project. And from there, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ronaldson, for that update to the committee and to the members here, also the public. Does anyone from the committee have any questions or concerns, statements? Jim?
Yes. You know what I've heard from a number of